Greetings, greetings. It is time for yet another bad stream. I wasn't able to, unfortunately, stream on Sunday or even Monday as I had hoped. Uh, Things got in the way as they usually do, but I figured better late than never, and I figured let's try to get some more streams in there. Frankly, I'm not in the super best of streaming moods, but the show must go on, or whatever. I don't know. I did take a very brief look at this game off stream. So last time I finished the console version of Batman Vengeance on Xbox, and despite significant frustrations with a lot of things, combat, the camera, a lot of with how the game actually played, I still enjoy the game on the whole because I found it was actually, I think, among the best so far of all the games we've played in terms of atmosphere and capturing the tone and feel of the animated series. The story was pretty good. Like, it actually had some sort of detective crime solving elements to it. There was like pretty decent voice performances, like cinematography or whatever, like in the cutscenes, and just in general in the game. Anytime you spent outdoors, like in the city, actually looked pretty cool. So it was positive experience all around. It wasn't a super duper long game, and I figured the Game Boy Advance version probably is not going to be super long either. So it is my hope, not particularly based on any research or anything, but my hope nevertheless that we shall be able to finish this game today in one sitting. If the game ends up being super short, so we finish it in an hour or something, we might move on to Dark tomorrow, but we might not. We'll see what happens. My goal for today is, if possible, beat Batman Vengeance on the GBA. Sting X2, what's up? Hello, of course, also to Hoffman and everyone else lurking. Keeping your popcorn ready seems like a good idea. Why don't we see if we can boot this bad boy up? There we go. Let's get rid of this music. There we go. So, worth noting, I think, is that this game, of course, came out, to the best of my knowledge, roughly the same time as its console and PC counterpart. And we talked a lot about how that version was more or less a Xbox launch game. The PS2 had been around for about a year, but that generation of consoles was pretty new, and all of the evolution that we would see in that type of game, like the third-person character action game, throughout that generation of consoles, to say nothing of what's happened in the last 10 years. It was really interesting to see in which aspects the game felt hopelessly dated and where it seemed surprisingly modern. And it kind of dawned on me as I set this game up that this is actually a rather early Game Boy Advance game. And not only, I feel like not only is it an early game for that particular system, it is, but keep in mind, like, portable games didn't really see the same kind of linear evolution, if you can call it that, as console games did in terms of hardware platforms evolving. Also, let me get my splits ready here, or my timer. Like, on the console side, especially in the 90s, like, there were new consoles every few years. But on the handheld side, sure. I mean, there was the Lynx, the Game Gear, the Wonder Swan, Neo Geo Pocket, Gamecom, But like, none of that, really mattered all that much. And ultimately, even though, I mean, I don't know, the Neo Geo Pocket and Pocket Color was pretty cool compared to the Game Boy or the Game Boy Color, it didn't necessarily represent like a huge evolutionary step forward in portable gaming or whatever. But so obviously the Game Boy had not necessarily a stranglehold on the market, but I don't know, maybe you could say that. It was by far the biggest platform, and the Game Boy had, there was the Super Game Boy, letting you play on Super Nintendo. There was the Game Boy Pocket, Game Boy Light, and eventually the Game Boy Color, which was the first like real, actual new hardware in terms of games being able to do new stuff. But even if you look at like GBC games, I don't know, there are a few exceptions, I suppose, but for the most part, Game Boy games were still kind of Game Boy games. There weren't that much difference, you know, in a Game Boy game from say 92 to 98 or 99. But if you look at console games, that was definitely not true. So my point is, what I want to get at with all that is that the Game Boy Advance represented, I think, a significant like move forward technology-wise in portable gaming that actually like mattered. Um, in Japan, especially, of course, there had been cell phone games and stuff parallel to this, but even so, the GBA I think represents more sophisticated types of games. The use of 3D, whether it was a good idea or not, stuff like that. So, I happen to see here the ID of this game being 161, meaning this is of all the entire GBA library, this was the 161st game to get dumped, including all different regions and stuff. So that means it's like, I don't know, I would reckon definitely in the 101st games, probably fewer than that. But in any case, it's an early game, and I think we will see examples of things being a little more primitive than one might expect from a GBA game. But we'll see. That's my impression from doing about 5 seconds of research. Game audio seems super low. Let's turn that up a little bit. I hope that's better. Okay, so we got like disgusting JPEG compression, but still like cut and paste CG from the console game. I don't know what advanced mode is, but it seems to require a password. So if/when we get to check that out, that'll be later on. So let's just jump right into story mode and start a new game. I like that literally the first word in the entire storytelling aspect of this game is meanwhile. Meanwhile, what? I guess this is taken from the script from the console game, at which point we've just seen Batman rescue some lady from a bomb. Anyway, let's get into this. Meanwhile, in his hideout, the Joker tells Harley Quinn and his henchmen the plans for his latest scheme against Batman in Gotham City. And that, boys and girls, is the plan. That's crazy enough that it might work, eh? I'll report on the police radio about a robbery in progress at the Gotham City Museum, Batgirl. Can you update me on the situation? Not a lot of information coming in yet, Batman. Except the perp's the Joker, and he's still on the scene. I'm on my way. Be careful, Batman. So, alright. Alfred here, sir. I'm standing by to offer whatever assistance I can. Use your life recovery whenever you feel need, sir. But do so sparingly, as it is a limited resource, okay? Well, already, audio is not terribly impressive, I must say. Batman's sprite Oh boy, the camera is like already kind of nauseating. Let's just never turn around, I guess. Batman Sprite is not one of the better looking ones. Do this mash combo, I guess we can do, yeah, crouching, up and punch, nothing. Okay, so select does nothing, start brings up this menu. L swaps gadget, and R uses gadget. Okay, I guess not allowed to use that. That's the healing thing, I suppose. Batarangs, smoke bombs. Bat grapple. Let's equip the bat grapple so we don't, whoa, accidentally use stuff. Okay, just clowns with rocket launchers. Alright, okay, so we can glide. Like the console game. Okay, we clearly got a ledge above us here, but we can't use, I guess it's just decorative. I'm gonna assume that harms me. Yep. This music is pretty harsh. Like, I know the GBA is not the best sound wise, and I know a lot of like Super Nintendo to GBA ports suffered in particular. Okay, I'm not sure what that was. Oh, Batarangs. From like the graphics looking mostly similar, but the sound being pretty horrible. Nope, that's not a thing. Nope, okay. Oh, dude, this camera is like just... Immediately, if I tap left, just swings all the way back at full speed. There's no like smoothing or anything either. It's really... It's whiplash. So, I mean, we got the bright red skies and everything, but otherwise, I gotta say, this does not quite capture the atmosphere the way the console game did. Certainly Batman himself doesn't really look... He looks a bit off-model, doesn't he? Like, he's got these tiny legs and these giant arms. Nope, okay. I mean, I guess the combat's sort of better, though. Combat isn't as obnoxious as it was on Xbox. It's not exactly good either, but... It's a good thing that we play the console version. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys watching now. Prometheum, okay, that's a plot point, eventually. I don't know how many of you were here for that, but... I can sort of project like some of the positive emotions and like memories from that game onto this. And like whenever this game is, you know, there's a story scene or something that's meant to invoke something that actually happened in the other game. It helps having that frame of reference. And that's also why I always, like, in situations like this where there's a real version or a big version of a game and a smaller portable version, whatever, I like to play the main version first. Password Gotham, and we lost our Batarangs. Interesting. So, oh yeah, we can even see the password here. Fuck, I don't know which one. Okay, so the white one's highlighted, right? Okay, good. We lost anything we picked up, and we gained back anything we used, and we have full health, and there's no multiple lives, I guess, which seems to suggest to me that any password we ever get is gonna... It's not gonna keep track of item use or health or lives or anything like that, which is a good thing because it means we don't have to be so concerned. As long as you just make it past the next password. Oh boy, I guess you can't glide and kick. Try using your grappling hook. Okay. Finally, about time. No? What the heck? Oh, now I can use it. Okay. Well, I see. The metal plates. Okay. Jump right. Nope. Oh, what the heck? Well, that was awkward. Let's try that again, I guess. It's weird that there's so many things that look like you could stand on them, but then you can't. Okay, got him. Alright. Alfred's not gonna bother calling again, I guess. Guess probably a better idea to jump here, though. Jump up. Like, the jumping and climbing is... Let's just say it's not great. Ooh, you can only glide for a little bit, actually. I just realized. Heal up. I guess these barrels never contain anything. They're just there for you to destroy for no good reason. Sort of magnetized towards grappling. Or not grabbing onto those ledges. I mean, it's a good thing. That's much better than struggling to grab onto them. Sometimes it's weird when you grab onto something that's like a knee height or something. Hey, Mr. Fui. Yeah, his posture, I don't know. Physique. Whoops. Okay. His arms seem a little long. Spot the end? Nope. I don't know if it's... Oof, those jumps seem a little tricky, at least. Oh, that's kind of true to the console game. You're in the middle of a combo and they just punch you. That's accurate. There we go. Take note of the new password, Batman. So I guess we've learned now that any word that's related to Batman, we just type in and it's probably a password. On the museum's roof, Batman makes a horrifying discovery. Okay, so this is like literally the opening of the console game. This happens before the other cutscene. A woman tied up beside a bomb, set to explode. Yep, they don't call it Batman Vengeance for nothing. That's right. I assume he grabbed her. Yep. Batman, thank goodness. Joker took me hostage, left me to die. Which way did he go? I think I heard him say he was headed to the new Gotham City Bridge. Got to stop him, Batman. I plan on doing just that, miss. Also, my Batman voice is a little out of shape today, but that's fine. Batgirl, the Joker's at Gotham Bridge. Send me the Batmobile. And on your way, watch yourself on the bridge. Loaded with hazards. Oh, okay. Well, this is new. Sort of. Well, fire or charge. So there were Batmobile parts in the other game. Oops, okay, it's timed. Giant crates just in the road. Okay, these are jumps, I guess. Oncoming traffic, huh? Whoops! Thanks for the warning. Luckily, the Batmobile seems pretty impervious to damage, unlike many other games we've played. Those are the... We got the photon torpedoes again here, I see. That like, but just giant piles of manure as well. And use it. But this is like one of the... I would say for better and for worse, less exciting Batmobile sections we've ever seen in a Batman game. I mean, there's a timer. I guess we don't know how far... Like, it seems pretty low stakes, which I feel is a nice change of pace, because these stages are usually, like, the worst. But we're running low on time here. Alright, okay, we made it. Not sure what happens in 4 seconds, but... New password, Barbara. Spy Hunter, yeah, it's definitely Spy Hunter vibes. Not quite as good, though. Evel's path is blocked by debris, forcing Batman to finish the trip on foot. Catches up to the Joker. How lovely to see you, Bats. I was just about to blow up the bridge. Imagine my delight in being able to blast you as well. Alright, we got brand new grab. Oh, okay. There. That's a hole. Try that again. I see they get good mileage out of that laughing sound. Ouch. Okay, do I do anything here? Just wait for him to drop something I can use or whatever. No, like rolling or... Nope. Okay, I don't get any more gadgets here. Nope, okay. Doesn't seem like attacking here is hitting anything. But it doesn't seem like much of anything is happening to anything here, so... Also, notice how much faster I'm moving than the actual animation of the conveyor belts. That's a little goofy. I don't seem to be able to do much with those barrels either. I mean, I can have them crash on top of me. That's about it. Right. There we go. Okay, I was going to say, maybe I can hit in between that gap. And maybe then they will drop. Okay, yeah. I'm assuming I don't want to step on those things. Let's stand over here so the barrels will... Oh, fuck, it hit me, so it didn't spawn anything. His feet touched the platform. It somehow killed him. The bomb defused and the Joker defeated. Batman tries to pull the clown prescribed to safety, but the Joker resists. He plummets to the dark waters far below the bridge. Could this be the end of the Joker? Password Grace. All right, so another thing to keep in mind compared to the console version, that at this point we would have rescued the lady first, then have a kind of a lengthy Batcave training sequence, and then that first episode, whatever, and then the boss fight. This so far we're moving ahead a lot faster than in the console version, because we're past this point in just 16 minutes. So we'll see how long this goes on. But it might get a lot harder, of course. Hailed as a revolution in healthcare technology, Prometheum represents a new hope for cryogenic research with its ability to restore life to people frozen. Hope is death. Seems totally worth blowing up your TV over, sure. Meanwhile, in the Batcave. Check this out, Robin. The security system at Gotham Industrial Research is failing. Cameras are blacking out from room to room in sequence. Something's wrong. We'd better have a look. Batplane's the faster way to get there. Batgirl and Robin pressing the R button will activate a shield that will, for a few seconds, protect the Batplane. Alright, so this is kind of cool. We never got to play as... I mean, Batgirl was pretty... had a pretty big, like, story... presence in the console game. Robin didn't really appear. Like, that's the thing we sort of complain about, that Robin and Nightwing, despite ostensibly being part of the gang in this incarnation of the show, didn't show up much in the games. I mean, doesn't necessarily feel like I'm playing as Robin here exactly, but technically he's in that ship, so counts. Not sure what these fucking cannons are all over the city, though. Oh, fuck. Probably not gonna make it, am I? Oh, whew. New password, Robin. Okay, we made it. Oh, wow. Okay, well, this is different. Huh. Also, Robin, you can move the boxes by pushing the B button. Oh, it's fucking Sokoban. Oh, there's a box. Okay. Yeah, literally Sokoban. Okay. Sick. Pokemon, except we have to punch out dudes fucking shooting rockets at us. But that's cool. That's cool. But hey, we get to play as Robin. Also, thankfully, the fucking RC car or something. Okay, we got healing items at least. Ice physics? Nope. Okay, so block the laser, I'm guessing. Yep. Sokoban elements seem thankfully light, at least. Where are we going even? Do we need to, like, push? Okay, we won't be able to push anything into this barrier, so presumably we need to find a switch or something. Let's see what's to the right. Okay. Panels seem purely decorative. No, I can't. I see. punch this machine? Nope. Okay. Alright. Moving far ahead here. I don't know if we're supposed to still find a switch and then go back. That's the thing gonna like shoot at me or anything? No, okay, it's literally just. More laser bars. They're green, but I still don't want to touch them. Nope. Okay. Okay. I'm starting to think those barriers aren't anything. You'd have to backtrack an awful lot to get back there. This is gonna work. And there's that. Okay. No, okay. Well, actually, I guess it's fine. I just need to move. You might want whatever's here. Okay, so we got the bar of soap. Is that a key or something? Oh boy. So, am I meant to use this on a panel or something? Or maybe it activates if I go near those laser barriers or something. There's nowhere else to go, clearly, so we'll find out sooner or later. But this is kind of neat. I appreciate not everything having to be all about punching bad guys. It doesn't hurt me, but I can't walk through it. Can't use the bar of soap either. This has a blue box on the thing, but nope. I mean, there's nothing to suggest that those things are interactable, but not sure where else. Nope. Backtracking it is. So this is the first room where we first encountered the barriers, right? On the left here. Are those the same barriers? Seems like they might be. I'm mashing R here, which is like the item use button. Nothing seems to happen. go back further? That's info there. Select doesn't do anything. So this is where I started. Right? This thing I can't use either. Okay. They're not like connected by some thing in between the rooms. Get back to a locked thing here. I guess I didn't quite mean to heal, but fuck it. This thing on the wall, is that a thing or is it just like ice? Like icicles? You have to time it for when it's like blue? Doesn't seem to be it. Nope, nope. Well, chat, if you have any ideas, I'm I'm all ears. Let's double backtrack, I guess. Just get back to get as far into the place as we can again, and then see if we missed something right there. Maybe I was supposed to use it in the same room I got it or something. And I just jumped to conclusions about backtracking because I had previously made the assumption that I was supposed to get back to those laser barriers. Yeah, I didn't think I would have to backtrack, but then I did anyway. Oops. Smack. So let's see if... Seeing as I can't seem to be able to interact with anything anywhere. Like, there's no computer panels that look different, really. Oh yeah, this is where... Yes. Wait, how did I do this? Oh, okay, maybe that was it. Yeah, there's like... Yeah, so this is where we... So yeah, I was like, oh yeah, this game seems super easy and fast. And then fucking second stage or whatever, we're already stuck. Am I totally misunderstanding how to use items, or... Maybe, I don't know. If this is some little RC car or something, maybe you can use it to like go through the laser barriers and find a switch on the other side, or like I'm really grasping at straws here, but I think I already stood and like mashed. Boxes aren't obscuring anything else. I doubt it. I mean, I think I've moved. Like, I don't think I've left any box sort of unmoved. Maybe. Oh, okay. Hang on. Maybe this is more Sokoban than I thought. Maybe we have to. That doesn't make any sense. I was gonna say, maybe you need to cover these with a box. But the one where I'm standing right here, I can't get a box to cover that one. And if that was the case, I would have already, like, fucked up. Like, soft block, basically. That's about the only thing I can think of, like, having the boxes be in a specific position, because I'm fairly sure that in those laser barrier rooms, at least the first one, there's no way to actually get a box within those doors to be blocked. But I could be wrong. Yeah, but like here, there are no boxes to push. Yeah, so this item doesn't become suddenly usable because I'm here. Connected to these blue things either. Fuck's sake. Okay, so I guess you had to time it, but it was blue. The first 50 times I mashed, just... I'm not exactly sure what I did differently, but... progress, I suppose. I want these to get more out of sync. Yeah, like that. I'm gonna assume there's a second key here. Batarangs, okay. Like, if I could have spent the key on the other door, then I'm sure there's gotta be... So, like, you get really stuck when you throw the batarangs. Whoops. I mean, I figured I might as well use them, right? I didn't even push that thing. Checking again. Alright. Do I get a second? Like, was this all... Maybe... Oh, yeah, so maybe I get like a red key or something that only works on that door. Still don't really understand how I use that key, but just accept it. Or this is the exit. Okay. I need help. I'm stuck. I mean, this place is crawling with thugs. I don't know if I'll be able to stop Mr. Freeze before he destroys all the Promethium. I'm on my way, Robin. I'll be in the Batmobile, so make sure the Billings gates are open for me. Okay. Now I have to fucking open the front door for Batman. May I suggest seeking holes in the walls through which you can pass the Batcrawler? Okay, so the Batcrawler is this thing, I guess. Let's seek holes in the walls, shall we? Oh, this is dumb when I do that. Ouch. Oh, hey, it's these chicks. Wait, did she... I looked away, and I guess she just... I guess I hit her once, and she got knocked out. I see. Well, this looks like a hole in the wall if ever I saw one. I can't stop, by the way. Up, right, left. Okay. Did I crash into something? I assume that's a password that I need. Was it because I got close to a panel? Oh shit, I take damage. Somehow. Yeah. Wait. Get different ones? Oh, I don't get it. Should I write this shit down? What was the first one? Let's make note of this just in case. Do I have a pen? Oh fuck it, I'll just use notepad. Shit, what was the first one? This is like up, left, right, or something. I guess we'll just try this. It starts repeating. Up, down, left, right. I mean, it doesn't seem to cost us anything. Maybe these are like codes or something. Left, up, down. Like any given combination. Right, down, up, down. Right, up. Okay, there's no repeats so far. Down, down. Yeah, maybe it resets. Okay. Yeah, that's true. Oh, I made note of those. Okay, so let's see if we come back to this. Understand what that's for. Now what was it? Okay, yeah, I guess so. That was kind of peculiar. A lot of stuff that's not super well explained. Whoa! You can't move diagonally, by the way. That's a little awkward sometimes. I like Robin's sprite though. Like I feel like it looks a lot better than the Batman sprite in the side-scrolling stage. I don't know about whoever decided that Robin's like main mechanic should be like Sokoban, though. That seems a little questionable. I mean, I guess it's not exactly Sokoban because you can actually pull the boxes. So I don't think you can do that in that game, but still. Is there anything up here, maybe? Oh, something, right? Okay, that was a wall, so the question is, what's this way? Oh, okay, never mind. It wasn't really a wall, I guess. Okay. Oh, shit. Down, up, down, right. So there's another room up there, but let's... Honestly, if I miss some secret or something, it's not gonna, like, haunt me. Down, up, down, right. Oops. Ah! Oh. Overeager, maybe? Oh, there's a barrel. Barrel's usually good. Got a bar of soap? Maybe that's for the other door that we passed. Or it's for right here. Nice. Taking on a new password, Batgirl, okay? It didn't exactly seem like anything we did there had much to do with opening the gates, but... Oh shit. But, oh well. All the stripes on the road, I guess. That looks like a villain in this car. I guess it's shooting missiles. I can barely see what's going on here. Try to hit the jump without overshooting it, but... Got him. Fucking manure piles. Batman's energy balls are completely ineffective on tankers, trucks, I guess. Had 4 seconds to spare last time. It's not looking too good for this one. I feel like I'm fucking up at least as much. And I would really only expect them to get stricter the further you get. Game over. Okay, let's try again. I guess you should just shoot these out more often just in case you hit someone. Doesn't seem to cost you anything, so I guess you might as well. And then we're destructive, you have to dodge, of course, but... At least won't lose time for bumping into other cars. See? Like that. Okay, you do at least lose a tiny bit of time for hitting the shit piles or whatever. Like, as long as you're skidding, you're maintaining full speed, it seems, but then you sort of stop. Like that. Definitely a bit of a hiccup, speed-wise. Wow, I slid the right way. Fuck's sake. Okay, I guess I'm not really getting any further. Huh, okay. I got about one screen further, and I was like half a screen away from actually making it. So, yeah, the tankers are by far the worst, because they actually push you back and grind you to a halt. Like, I'm already kind of fucked. I don't know about those guys shooting at you. Maybe the stage, like, loops until you beat them, so maybe taking more time there actually costs time. Like this, like maybe the stage doesn't progress until you actually defeat them. That's pure speculation, but it could be. And if that's the case, it could definitely make the difference of a second or two. Shit is so hard to avoid. Then if you like jump out to the side like that, that can have consequences too. I'm fucked now. Yeah, there's no way. Yeah, this is like my worst run yet. Ah! It's pretty demanding, but it's also... The specifics of what it's demanding of you is more than a little annoying. What the fuck did I bounce on there? Fucking restart? No. Also, I guess my theory about looping during those little mini boss enemies, whatever, it's not. Dude, I was fucking in the air. Fuck's sake. Oh boy. Yeah, as far as like Batmobile stages in otherwise non-Batmobile games, doesn't get much worse than this. Like, I played harder ones, like Batman Returns and the other Mega City game, but they were at least really cool. This is like really boring looking and weirdly hard. Also, I love the timer starts beeping when there's like 2 seconds left. Oh, got fucking caught on the edge there, so... So I managed to avoid that one tanker, but I've bounced on 5 other things. It's so hard to jump straight on those things, and whenever you try to be careful so you get a straight jump, then you end up colliding with tankers and shit anyway. Always lose. Like, try to focus on every other aspect, and then you just forget to shoot projectiles. Some just total rando just crashes into you instead. Oh. The road getting smaller with no warning is pretty cool too. It's for the love of God. A bunch of crates, I think that means we're like close-ish to the end. Or at the bridge. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we're... Oh, dude, I was actually closer than I thought. The one... the time I failed it, I was actually... I thought I was like one screen away. It was like a quarter of a screen away. Oh, well. Take note of the new password. Well, I'm sure that's meant to be freeze, as in Mr. Freeze, but I'm going to say it's fries, because, man, I could go for some fries right now. Anyway, okay, we're back to this nonsense. Don't get any cool Batman wall jumps, but I guess we can jump up. Oh. There we go. I guess these aren't quite as obnoxious to deal with. Ugh. Oh. Maybe I spoke too soon. I like there's like 50 frames of animation and everything. It doesn't really look very good. I guess I'm not actually hitting when she's holding the shield up. Oh, wow, she hit me. To the camera. Okay, that seemed pointless. Yeah, I was gonna say, those barrels seem to drop stuff if you... not full, so we might as well use more batarangs. Oh, okay. Sure. Nice and consistent. Oh, that was cool. Great collision detection there. Alright. Just wait for them to blow the shield, and they just get hit. Okay, I noticed there was a grappling thing there. Let's just check over here first. Okay. So a big platformy room where we have to go back here if we fuck up, I guess. Is that right? Oh, okay. We just spawned on them, or they spawned on us, rather. I thought she had a gun, but she still just ran in to get punched. Okay, cool. Fine by me. Combat doesn't have a lot of finesse, but like I said, it's arguably still better than the weird combat in the console game. It's funnier. Let's heal up. Oh shit. I don't know where. Maybe you can actually get refills on that health thing. Oh, we don't need them, I guess. Victor, okay, yeah. Spotting Mr. Freeze. Batman follows the frozen felon. Prometheum renders my power to freeze people useless. Fortunately, Prometheum is highly flammable and thus easily destroyed. Ah. Alright, lost. Whoa! Whoa! Aha. I need to collect them. That's kind of cool. Definitely a lot less tedious than the... Oh, fuck. Whoops. A lot less tedious than the console boss fight. We had to, like, shoot tanks in the ceiling to have them fall on him, except they'd fall on you instead and whatnot. Is he doing something to avoid that? Like, it doesn't really seem to matter much. Need to be a little careful not to overshoot. I see. Okay. I figured there'd be some wrinkle to this. I mean, it's still not too difficult or complicated. It's still kind of neat. I enjoy this. I like that the boss fights are a little puzzly and gimmicky. That's a nice touch. Rip, Mr. Freeze. Got him. Oh, seal of my suit broken. It's burning. Help me. Batman raises the freeze gun at his suffering foe and fires a single blast. Mr. Freeze is saved from the Prometheum and rendered helpless. Mr. Freeze is returned to Arkham Asylum. Password Alfred. Meanwhile, at the abandoned Gotham chemical plant, the hideout of Poison Ivy. While she tends to her plants, the sound of breaking glass is heard. Poison Ivy discovers that someone has thrown a test tube containing a mysterious substance through a window. Out of curiosity, she tests the glowing substance on one of her plants. Like, wouldn't she test it on an animal or something? Wouldn't she consider it dangerous or cruel to test it on plants? What do I know? The plant undergoes a startling change and devours the caged rabbit beside it. Poison Ivy is surprised and very pleased. This just in, Batman. Mammoth plants have taken over an entire neighborhood. So there's Nightwing. Like, I'm curious because I don't remember seeing this in the other game. I'm pretty sure we never even really saw Robin or Nightwing. But maybe they appeared in some CG thing at the beginning or something. I don't really remember. Plants? That's gotta be the work of Poison Ivy. What do you think she's up to? Only one way to find out, Robin. I'm on my way. According to the police reports, there are 5 plants that are bigger than the others, like generals. Take them out and the others should calm down. Alright, we Dynasty Warriors now? Dude, why is there so much fucking driving this shit? Alright, this is just fucking useless against these ones, I guess. Always with the trucks. Weirdly, the giant ones are like the ones you can actually avoid. Well, on a good day. It's just ever so slightly infuriating. Just pray that I somehow get this first try. Fucking trucks! Nope. No such luck. Okay. Let's try again then. At least I know how I'm supposed to avoid them, even if I can't really do it very well. There's the jump. It's fine. Like, it really sucks, because if you overshoot it just a tiny bit, you just get glued to the side and get a big, like, speed penalty. Oh, that's really bad. Really bad. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can't really do it now. Fuck's sake. Okay. Note to self. Take the left. Or take the right. So whenever the road splits, just hold right. It really sucks when you end up going up the ramp with like no speed. I hate that you can't shoot these things either. Oh yeah, I'm not even close. Same fucking hero truck. I think I made it like about 2 pixels further. Oh, you lose so much time. Is this where it splits off? Yeah. Fucking missed that jump somehow. Well, I gained about half a second maybe. Unless I lost it in other places, which is not unlikely. Double truck, yeah. Okay. Could have missed a lot more time there, so I should consider myself lucky. Got a good 5-6 second lead here. I managed to dodge those trucks that fucked me up last time. Oh my god, there's... Holy shit, this level is... There was a lot more left than I thought. You really need to not fuck up. Ah! Hey there, Dokkan-kun, what's up? Grim, lost or follow? I assume you mean to say that for some reason you are not following, and that you're not saying that I did something terrible and now you don't want to follow me anymore.
Chicks dig the car.
that answers that, I suppose. Thank you very much for following. Thank you very much for making an effort to go against the wishes of Twitch glitch. All this is a wash. Dude, I need to really like memorize the whole fucking thing, which sucks. And again, I might be better at that than trying to sight read the whole thing. How's the GBA version been so far? Honestly, not very impressive. There's a lot more Batmobile stuff. There's like a stage like this in between every stage, but there's more variety, I guess, because we've done like one Batman side-scrolling stage, and then some Batmobile stuff, and then a flying stage, and then a stage with Robin where you go run around kind of doing puzzly stuff. Then there's another Batman stage and another driving stage. Here there's just... Stay right on the right side, okay. Maybe we gotta keep to the right. Okay, because after this, I think where it splits, and then you want to stay right. Avoid the truck too, yeah. That's like the one thing I managed to memorize. Fuck, and then it's a hard left. This I remember too, that there's another truck there. Okay, I lucked out a little bit there. Purple truck coming there. Yep, remember that. Now I really don't know though. Kind of surprised I actually made it this far. All the fuck ups early on. Oh shit, we actually made it. Wow. I don't know how I did that. And all the passwords are like words and names, so it would seem like if you enter just any word or character or name that you know of in the Batman universe, it's probably a password. Get through. After that, Batman. I'm gonna Rob will take the bat. Oh, Jesus Christ. So I guess abandoned building 1 street north of you. Nightwing and Robin can pick you up there. Leaving the Batmobile. Okay, so we gotta go across the street in the side-scrolling level. Still like one of 2 music tracks. Oh shit. Oh yeah, this is like this train stage, guys, I guess. Also, Teasel, what's up? Like it's not easy to see what's the platform here. Am I hitting it? I don't know. This is kind of grimy looking. Nope, okay. Oh, I see. Didn't realize. Yeah, it's getting tougher for sure. Okay. Certainly more confusing. Sting, yeah. I had a similar thought when we were playing the Gotham City Racer, which was like kind of at the halfway mark. I actually started keeping a little tally just off stream. I haven't been like dressed it up or anything, but just a simple tally of what characters are like the final boss. But yeah, I was kind of inspired, you could say, by the fact that that game just had a pretty good representation of many different villains, some of which didn't really show up otherwise. And yeah, it would be fun to do like a more thorough look at that. And I wouldn't mind doing it retroactively. Like, I'm thinking that might be a thing that we do at the end of the project, just as a retrospective sort of thing. Like, at the end, I want to definitely do... Like, for my Mortal Kombat project that I did last year... Was it last year? It was a long time ago. Like, the final episode was kind of a summary of everything, and I went through and, like, did my personal ranking of, like, not just the games, but, like, every Mortal Kombat character and stuff. That was pretty fun. So, I wanted to do something similar for this. Oh, shit. When I'm finally done. And I want to try to rank the games. But another thing we could look at would definitely be, like, what characters appeared in which games, who appeared in the most games, which appearances were kind of cool and which were kind of lame. Shit, well, I'm alive at least. Nope. Get up! Get up! So it's not a bad idea at all. I just haven't really... if nothing else, it will definitely be something we look at the end. But I thought of... I've toyed with the idea of doing it as more of a recurring thing. Okay, I'm not sure what happened there. I couldn't jump kick for some reason. Or like just as we move along, so to speak. But I don't have a good way. Right now, I just have a very simple spreadsheet, so I don't really have a good way of presenting it visually right now. But it would be fun to do some, I don't know, pie charts or something. So I will look into that for sure. It'd be cool if we could get some more health, but... Oh boy. Is that it? No, he's still alive. Can't you get up? Oh, never mind. Yeah, I can. Just the rooftop, yeah. Fuck. Whew, okay, we did it. Password James. Okay, next password Gordon. And yeah, that's right. Dark Tomorrow is coming up after this. I know a lot of people have been excited for that. Follow the trail of Ivy's plants, Nightwing. We need to track them back to their source. So for these stages, you get a little temporary shield you can activate. There's a cooldown on it. You see the little bar. Should have used it there, but... Just the turbo fire button it is. A little bit. Oh shit! I got generated by the building. I didn't realize. Dude, I fucking still got hit. Christ. I think I It's really easy to touch the building. Just do that. So I mean, these stages add some variety, and I'd say they're certainly not worse than the flying stages in the 3D game, which were really difficult and weird. Is this game kind of crap? It's not great, but I mean, everything's relative, right? And I mean, this exists in a world where Batman and Robin for the Game Gear exists, and uh, that last one for Game Boy Color, just barely made it. Drake. Oh, I see. Mixing things up, huh? Uh, like it plays fine. I would say it's rather mediocre. There's nothing really that stands out about it. Like it's got these characters and like all these, especially if you consider this in a vacuum, not comparing it to the console version, but just the stuff that it inherits from the console version, like these cutscenes and the story and the characters. Those are kind of neat. And like I said, the boss fights weren't bad. So this is just kind of inoffensive and unimpressive. But it's not bad. It's just like if you think of this as an early GBA title too, like you wouldn't compare this to like Aria of Sorrow or Metroid Fusion or I don't know, some other really good GBA games, but rather crummy Game Boy games or Game Gear games or Gamecom or you know, other portable Batman games. Or hell, portable side-scrolling action games. I don't think the bar was very high by like 2001. I mean, there was probably one or two decent Castlevanias. There were some real shitty ones too, but probably one or two pretty decent ones. There was definitely Batman games that were cooler, but almost all of them, the portable ones, have been kind of frustrating. So I would say this is kind of middle of the road. Certainly not crap. But at the same time, I don't think I would ever recommend this game other than to Batman completists. Like, the console game was pretty cool. If you're like a big fan of the Batman animated series, I could see myself recommending that game. Like, hey, you should check it out. Like, play on a low difficulty level. The combat sucks. It's kind of tedious. But it's got some pretty cool scenes and everything. Like, it's a neat experience. But this is just kind of a lamer version of that looks pretty bland. Alright, another Robin puzzle stage. Chaos in Gotham is a very unfortunate game, I feel, because it's the art is amazing. It's got some super cool like really neat visual tricks. There's like a third person racing stage where you drive you play as Batgirl on her motorcycle. Like, it looks amazing. A lot of really cool, super well animated like boss fights and stuff. And I'm reminded that I still need to rip the Joker's like dancing or juggling animation or whatever from that game. Like, it's amazing visually, but the collision detection is like terrible, and I remember it being really confusing how certain boss fights and stuff worked. It's not a good game. But it's like weirdly high production values. It's like if you could take the art assets from that game and put it in something else, like it could be really amazing. Oh, okay. Obviously, I have to get in here. But in terms of like playability, I would admit that it would probably end up close to, if not at the bottom of the list. Like, it's just really not good. Can I get through? No, I have to push on. this is like not really. I appreciate Batman games that aren't 100% about punching villains in the face, but this is still not really what I come to Batman games for, I feel. I want to see, can I? Fuck.
There's something about an anatomically correct rubber suit.
Hell yeah, there is. Norab, what's up? Thank you very much for your continued support. 6 months. It's awesome. Now where was I? Alright, I wanted to see if I could get... Oh boy, I'm not fucking this up, aren't I? I want to see if I can get one of these boxes out further left here. Yep, his greatest nemesis. What up, Arthur Collector? Yes, this is indeed our first GBA game. Hot off the heels of our first Xbox game. This is the GBA version of that same game. Batman Vengeance. Okay, let me see if I can. Temporarily do this. I have to give ourselves some more space. No, fuck. Oh. Like, you really have to do this in like, the perfect order or it won't work. That's better, because now... Nope. Oh, no, that's not gonna work either. This might be good still, I just need to... Can't get it. I'm probably just literally repeating exactly the same mistake over and over here, but... Sure looks like it. But can I... Yeah, it's a teeny tiny little Robin, but I don't know if this helps, but... Let's see here. Aha, okay. Oh boy, I have to get this shit out here too. I'm gonna have to get out of this mess afterwards too. That's even more fun. Whew, okay. Cool, we got our bar of soap, or whatever, key box. Well, you can at least pull boxes, so that saves this from being as much of a nightmare as it could be. Ever so slightly. Well, actually, I need to do the opposite here, because I need to get these boxes the fuck away here. Yeah. Let's do this, and just push this all the way down here. This can... I can fill this corner up for all I care. Like this gets a little noxious. Well, I'm gonna fuck that up because, well, no, I can't. Ugh. What if I? Okay. Just remember something you want to discuss. Well, it's not too private, I hope. Just an idea. Well, I'm all ears. But the emote. The old GBA Quan, you mean? It looks on the chat text. Sure. I mean, I've been meaning. I still haven't bothered. Like, the thing is, there wasn't much of a deeper thought behind that emote. It's just like, it's a funny picture of me, and Quan Chi is pretty cool and pretty funny. And so, hey, let me try to do this Photoshop. And it's like, well, I need a sub emote anyway. And then, to my surprise, people like actually liked it and didn't want me to change it. When I was like, hey, maybe I should, like, I have a few subs now. Maybe I should get an emote that doesn't suck. And at least like 2 people were like, hey, no, this is why I subbed. Don't you dare change it. So I mean, that's cool. But I have been sort of wanting to, at the very least, add emotes for the higher tiers. Not that I expect anyone to sub for 10 or 25 bucks. But if you're on Discord, you can use all 3 tiers. Plus, I can use them anyway. Yeah, no, you bring up a good point. Honestly, there's a few things in just the scaling of it, like the aliasing on a dark background. I don't like how it looks, so I kind of want to give it an overhaul anyway. So, sure, when I have a moment to spare, I'll take a look at it. Looks like. Write this down. Left, up, down, right. And if you happen to have, and that doesn't go just for you, and if anyone happens to have, I hope that was right. Up, down, right. Suggestions or ideas for higher tier sub emotes, by all means. I have a terrible imagination. I can't think of anything. Oh boy. Well, that's where I want to go. Yeah, so I mean, I've added a couple of Franker Phase C emotes based on like all the Batman ones pretty much are taken from the Cartoon Maker, the Harley and Ivy and Alfred and the Joker. Some of them came out pretty nicely. I actually quite like how the Joker one came out. The Harley and Ivy ones are like a little bit on the small side, but you can still kind of make out the facial expressions. Okay, so we need to pull this one out for sure. Well, this should be complicated actually. E-card. Is there anything? Actually, I think I can get down there now anyway. Well. That was poorly timed. Yeah, the problem with Joker, like, you can't really cut out, like, you kind of need this entire face for the expression. But like I said, decently happy enough with how it came out. A lot of the times you see a really funny face and you try to convert it and it just doesn't work at all. Like the issue with a lot of those too is like the art style doesn't lend itself well to scaling. Like if you lose those crisp lines, it just looks weird. Whereas like a photo or something is a lot easier usually to scale down. It's kind of tricky to get them to look good as emotes. Let's see, this room's big. Yeah, there's multiple laser beams here. So let's see what's up here. Okay, I'm just sending out that RC car. Nice. Left, down, up, down. Yeah, no, these stages are totally unique to this version. There actually is a little bit of like adventure puzzle solving stuff on occasion. Oh shit, which one was it? Left, down, up, down? Yeah. Nice. RE. But you never play as Robin in that game. You play as Batman. I think throughout the entire game. So they take the basic plot beats of what happens in between the stages, but the stages themselves are like, could not be more different. Did I not just get picked up by... Okay, I forget what we're doing here, but... Eating up plants and moving down here, I guess. It's not just you. The stage graphics for these stages are pretty bad. Whoa. Yeah, there's a spiky thing I should have jumped over, I guess. Like the sprites are a little goofy, and the background, like the buildings, are really... Like, I get the feeling that the artists working on this really did not know what to do with the GBA specs. Like... Oh, Jesus Christ, that jump was janky. It's just like, hey, there's more color. That means better, right? And it just looks terrible. Yeah, we talked about that before, like how... there were some interesting aspects from the other game, seeing it in the context of being an early console game of that generation, and the same kind of applies here, because this was an early GBA game. Fuck, I'm like already dying. Yeah, this would have been near or at the release. Not quite at the release, I guess, but close to it. This was apparently this version. Like all the GBA games you can find on the internet, they always have a like an ID number for the dump, and that number indicates it's just a sequential ordering of every dump of every GBA game. So you can kind of tell from that number when it came out in relation to other games. And this is number 161. So that's a fairly low number. If you consider the fact that every region would have a different dump ID. Not just of this game, but of every game that came before it as well. So it doesn't mean that this is the 160th game. It would be the 160th dump. Of however many other games came before it with different regions, etc. Dude, I think it's time to heal up if I still have any left. And it's not just with GBA games too. It's not always just North America, Japan, and Europe, because a lot of times there were multiple different European SKUs. So you might have a different release. I don't think this game was like that because it had a language selected in the beginning. But sometimes you have games that has a different release for France, Italy, Germany, etc. Nope, I can't seem to grab that. Fuck. Streaming games loaded from a ripped ROM. Not sure what you mean. It depends. I mean, whether you're loading something, like, can I get back up here? No. The jumping on the slope is so fucking bugged. It's hilarious. Well, I'm gonna game over, but that's fine. We'll just redo the stage. I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to jump up on this yellow platform. Wow. Couldn't get the jump. Let's call it a gray area. I mean, technically speaking, Twitch aren't going to intervene. If you're playing stuff on emulator, but you probably shouldn't like brag about it. And technically, it's, I mean, there's no two ways about it. It is copyright infringement. Or copyright, I don't know. It's infringing on something or other. Ouch. Okay, that was very good. But it doesn't really matter. Like, it might look a little different whether you're playing in an emulator or if you're playing on a console where you can load, like using an EverDrive or something. Streamer that loaded games on an SNES Mini that are not. Yeah, exactly. That's. I mean, for all intents and purposes, it's the same thing. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm not running this on a Game Boy Advance, obviously. Or it would be kind of difficult to stream. Of course, there is definitely legal ways to stream GBA games. The most straightforward one would be to use a Game Boy player for the GameCube, which I would actually kind of like to get one of those. I have a very limited library of Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games, but I have a couple, and for the future, like my original Game Boy games, I can just stream off my Super Game Boy. That's how I prefer to play them anyway. But there's a lot of cool GBA games. The thing is, I'm not sure if my PAL GameCube, how that handles I think the Game Boy player is region free because it's just a GBA, but I'm not exactly sure how that works. But I'm also unsure if my console is capable of outputting RGB in the first place. Oh shit, we're here. Oh wow. Can you even own ROMs legally? Well, the thing is, with something like that, it's all going to be up to the interpretation of the law, right? And to the best of my knowledge, there really is no precedent. There are no court cases, really, that I know of anyway, where someone has been taken to task for just owning rips of games. And I mean, technically, no matter how you look at it, it's probably an infringement of your user agreement to make any sort of backups. But depending on where you live, you might still get backup from like consumer rights laws in your country. Like Sweden, where I live, is like we have pretty strong consumer right laws, and just being in the EU, there's stuff that applies. Like, for example, it's not related to this, but digital storefronts like Steam, they have their own like refund sort of system. But before they implemented that across the board, basically it was like if you're in the EU, you can get a refund, but if you're not, then sorry. And that's because they were legally obliged to provide that to EU citizens. And there are like this could end up in a similar situation where I might have legal protection when it comes to making personal copies or backups or whatever. So, is it legal? Like, it kind of depends on who you ask. And it depends on whose judgment it is up to. Like, maybe it's up to a court where it ultimately doesn't really matter what you think or what Nintendo thinks. Shit, let's hope I survive this. It looks like an exit. So, like, Nintendo, for example, can probably... I mean, they like to... They of course, they benefit from people being of the impression that this is completely legal. I'm not going to touch anything to do with emulators with a 10-foot pole. Exactly what SDS said. Like, they benefit from that perception. Yes, nice. But if they were to pursue it in court, they might lose. And they would much rather have a situation where it's gray, people don't really know, but people fear that maybe there will be repercussions, so let's stay hands off. That's better for them than establishing that something or other is completely legal. I believe it's legal to back up, but illegal to break copy protection to back it up. Selena, this is how she spells her name, Selena Kyle. I don't think she ever really shows up in this game, though, by the way. I can't remember. So, yeah, until a court case, we might not really know. And it's kind of the same thing with a lot of things to do with piracy and distribution and stuff. Like, there's certainly on developers' side, like the people making games aren't typically against the piracy of older games, that are out of print, because they don't see money from it either way. But there might be a publisher who's against it because technically they can earn a buck or two. But yeah, regardless of who you're looking at, you are very unlikely to get caught up in something just for downloading ROMs off the internet or whatever. But Nintendo, for sure, they have been, I mean, not just the most recent example with ROM Emu Paradise, whatever, was that the name of the site? Like, Nintendo are very well known for being like the most litigious company in the entire industry. Like, they've shut down, like in Japan, the R4 carts or whatever they were called, like the DS piracy carts, or piracy, like flash carts, whatever you'd call them. Like, they were like routinely, you would have like literal, like this guy with a table on the street or whatever, advertising, he'll selling them, and then like 2 weeks later, the cops show up and like on Nintendo's orders are just shutting them down. So like those kinds of devices, like that are anything like for Nintendo platforms, they're like super hardcore about getting rid of them. And like recently as well in Japan, and probably this kind of strong arming effort, probably not unrelated to the launch of the NES service on the Switch, where they go after these ROM sites, but also a lot of like Famicom pubs or like video game pubs in Japan, which is like a kind of a growing market, I guess. It's like become pretty popular as of late, where you go and you buy drinks and they have game consoles so you can just chill and play games while you drink. A lot of those places have been, I think, not a lot of them have been shut down, but like there were a few of them that were shut down as kind of a, they were made examples of, basically, saying like, hey, you're not allowed to have these games available. It's kind of like having a public showing of a rental VHS tape or whatever. Like you don't have the license to provide these games to be played publicly, so get rid of the games or we're shutting you down. And there were a few other companies, I think Capcom were involved in some of those crackdowns too, but Nintendo was like the major actor. So there's a lot of stuff like they've been involved, and even beyond like piracy stuff. Like if you're familiar with the Japanese like doujin market, like Japan, it's not China, but in some senses Japan kind of tends to play fast and loose with copyright. It's funny because it's super strict in some respects, but when it comes to derivative works or like fan creations based on existing IP, there's by and large a sort of understanding between companies and fans that it's pretty cool to use existing IP as long as it's not done in a business capacity. Yeah, so like the Comic, for example, right? So people draw their own fan comics, they do fan remix albums that they sell. Cosplay is kind of related to that same thing too. And you will see all kinds of, like, I think for Westerners, internet savvy Westerners, like doujin works and doujinshi are, I think, pretty uniformly associated with like pornographic stuff, which is sure a big part of it, but it's not. There's nothing inherently about doujinshi that has to do with like pornography. A lot of it is just fan fiction, fan art, fan comics, and stuff like that. And yeah, it's all built around that understanding between the doujin circles and the companies, and there's kind of a mutual respect and understanding of what's cool and what isn't. But Nintendo, like, you will not see anyone making anything Nintendo, because Nintendo just flat out like, nope, this is not okay. Certainly when it comes to like pornographic stuff, you'll see them too, like on like Tumblr or DeviantArt or whatever. Like if people draw, sexy Nintendo characters or whatever, that's like you will get shut down. Like they will shut down your site. So it's pretty interesting. Like they are in many ways a lot harsher on any kind of like playing around with their IP compared to like almost any and every other company like in the video game market. And yeah, there's definitely stuff like Wonder Festival and other like hobby. Like I think it's a little different with hobby stuff, because that's I'm not sure if that kind of licensed deal really happens with comics and that sort of thing, because those are definitely resold at multiple events. But yes, for Wonderfest and there's some other hobby like figure kind of themed events where usually you like some creator will make a resin kit, like a model kit that's legal, like licensed to be sold at that one event. But usually if it's like a really popular kit from some super talented sculptor, it's not unusual for that sculpt to then be licensed by a company who will then get the license to release that same sculpt as a pre-painted PVC figure and stuff like that. That definitely happens. But that's also why you see a lot of those kind of resin kits and figures get reissued multiple times because of the licensing deals. It's pretty interesting. The rabbit hole goes deep. Anyway, what you all say we get back to Batman? Batman, my babies and I have been waiting for you. To destroy you. You're about to learn just how powerful they've become. Alright, boss fight. Alright, this looks a little different. Are these gonna spawn pickups, I guess? Whoops. Like, even these scenes, they're a little elaborate. They're not that great looking. Like, everything looks like just a big mess. Nope, the Batarang spawns just spawn. Oh shit, did the thing heal up? Alright. Whew. Got her. She looked pretty cool up there, by the way. So now we get the scene from the real game, which had a completely different boss in a different type of room, but that's fine. In the console game, there's this big... Well, it's a similar kind of big plant monster, but it's like hanging off of these pipes that you have to shoot with batarangs to make steam come out, so it lets go and it drops into this giant vat of liquid and I guess gets electrocuted, which didn't really happen here, but that's alright. Batman in the case of the broken crop, right? Yeah, so Nora, the reason, I mean, like I said, Nintendo is well known for being litigious just in general, but logic would dictate, or at least imply, that the reason they're perhaps a little bit extra on the warpath right now is because they will be launching the equivalent of the Virtual Console for the Switch with the online service that launches this September. They haven't really detailed exactly how it's going to work in the long run, but essentially you will have access to NES games to some capacity. So essentially, yeah, since they will provide an avenue for people to spend money to play their old games, they are extra concerned with alternatives where people can play those games without spending money. But yeah, Nintendo themselves can only ever publish the games that they have the rights to. Any games from other publishers that have been put on the virtual consoles in the past have done so through licensing deals with said publishers. I mean, as far as rights go, yeah, exactly. Like, as far as being able to put stuff on there, they don't typically need source materials beyond a final playable. But it depends on the game. Nintendo have actually been like surprisingly to a surprising degree, made changes in games, putting up, being put up on Virtual Console. Like the original Legend of Zelda has had some slight translation changes and stuff like that. There was also, I think, Wave Race 64 on the Wii Virtual Console had some like advertisements taken out, that sort of thing. Because that's the big nightmare. Not just games themselves being owned by publishers, but the bigger issue is when content inside a game was not owned wholly by the original publisher. When there's stuff inside a game, like an obvious example would be a game like this. Ubisoft cannot just release this game. They could hypothetically release the, I don't know, GBA version of Prince of Persia or something, because they own the IP, they own the entire game. But they don't own Batman, so they couldn't release something like this. So any game based on a license, when it comes to re-releases, is always a huge, like, legal hassle. And it's why still, anytime any licensed game gets like a re-release, it's usually like worth, raising your eyebrows. Even something like Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 coming out on Xbox One and PS4 and Windows, because it didn't seem like that would be possible. But hey, they got the rights somehow because they were putting out Marvel Infinite or whatever. So sometimes it's a case like that.
There's something about an anatomically correct rubber suit.
Sometimes it's an anatomically correct bat suit. Maxide, thank you very, very much for your continued support. 5 months. Yeah, so like sometimes the stars align and a company has the rights. Like let's say Capcom have the right to release Marvel stuff, so they also re-release some older games that they happen to have in their library that they can maybe re-release at that window of time when they have the license. Or in other cases, more rarely you see sort of cooperations between publishers, where Ubisoft had the license for TMNT, and during that period of time, they were able to reach an agreement with Konami. So Ubisoft licensed Konami's 89 arcade game to release on Xbox Live. So Konami didn't have the rights, but they basically lent the rights to the game to Ubisoft for an undisclosed amount of money. And Ubisoft could make use of their rights to publish TMNT games to republish the 89 arcade game on Xbox Live. But of course, as soon as that license expired, as soon as Ubisoft weren't making TMNT games anymore, that game disappeared from the XBLA marketplace. And EA did the same thing, I believe, with the Simpsons arcade game, which was also originally a Konami game. But when around the time where EA put out the Simpsons movie game, they also put out the Simpsons arcade game on XBLA. But the more, so those are like the obvious cases when there's a game built around an IP. Yeah, we don't talk about Reshelled. Like the one thing that it had that was good about it was like, hey, it has the arcade soundtrack, which rules and is much better than the Super Nintendo soundtrack. But then in the final release, I guess, whoops, they didn't have the right to that music, so they had to replace it with super shitty elevator music. Oh boy, that thing sucked. But yeah, the more nefarious thing is where there's a game when there's content inside the game that is licensed. Like, say, for instance, an actor's likeness, or a song that is licensed from a record label, or product placement, advertising a product, or like any number of things. And especially like in the PlayStation era, there's tons of stuff like that because it was pretty common to like license artists to perform songs for like the FMV intros and stuff. Yeah, Cool Spot and Yonoid would be examples of that. Like, um, Cool Spot actually also highlights the second type of like nefarious situation like that, where the original publisher might not still be around, or the rights have transferred in a weird way where people don't really know who owns what. The Cool Spot was Virgin, and obviously Virgin as a whole haven't disappeared, but I don't know about Virgin Interactive, like their games. So I mean, maybe that's a clear-cut case, and I just don't know. But there are many cases of game publishers who just straight up don't exist anymore, and the rights to their IP has been like spread all over the place. There are some companies like there's the arcade version of Turtles in Time and the Super Nintendo version are very different, and aside from the graphics and music being far superior on the arcade version, pretty much everyone agrees that the Super Nintendo version is a much better game. It has like 4 extra stages or something like that. But the level of difficulty is much more well balanced as well. And the story makes a little more sense. Like in the arcade version, you start on the streets of New York or whatever. The second stage is the sewer stage. And then at the end of the sewer stage, you defeat the Rat King, and a Shredder hologram just appears and you get sent back through time. Like, it's... At least in the Super Nintendo version, you get to the Technodrome and fight the Shredder before he... I mean, if we look aside the technicalities of Shredder banishing you to a time warp, I can at least buy him doing that from the Technodrome as opposed to just in the sewers. But if you haven't seen the arcade, it's definitely worth checking out. The animation is much, much better, and the music is awesome. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of those TMNT. Like, the TMNT games would make for another good sort of retrospective challenge kind of thing, because there's a lot of them. And I think most of them are pretty decent. There's probably not a lot of amazing games, but certainly most of them wouldn't be total trash. And I know some of them, it's just one of those series that you could re-release. Yeah, I watched Macaw's thing. Was pretty cool. But the funny thing is, like, there's just as many games I feel after that point, because there's like, because he did like the trilogy of Game Boy games, but I want to say there's at least 3 games based on the 03 cartoon on the GBA and DS, and there's like at least one, if not several, games based on the movie that came out in like 2007 or whatever it was. And there's, yeah, probably again PS2 games. There's Smash Up, the Smash Brothers clone. Whatever else. That might actually... Oh yeah, no, there's the... It's so weird. There were 2 games that released like sort of around the same time from different developers. That had... One of them at least had like super creepy, like realistic looking slimy turtles. But anyway, I feel like this cutscene has been taking like 4 to 5 minutes just talking about all kinds of other shit. Anyway, Joker's blimp. Where the Joker's concerned, sometimes not even seeing is believing. The answer is at the gasworks. Oh, right, the gasworks. This was a pretty tedious level, where checkpoints suddenly were not so generous as they had been in the console game. But it kind of leads into the finale, I think, because you eventually get to that blimp, I want to say. I think that's where the final boss was. Whoops. Alright, let's try that. Yeah, the third TMNT game, which is kind of Metroid-like, that seemed really cool. I didn't really watch all of it when McCall played it, but I watched some of it. It definitely seemed... There's a good couple of GB games that I would like to add to my collection. That's one of them. The other ones, and kind of the big reason why I would like to, it's not great using one of those already, get a Game Boy player so I could play / stream GBC games, are Warrior Land 2 and 3. Those games seem really, really good. Okay, let's rethink this. I really like the Mario movie. It's like it's got its own really quirky but still fairly like well realized world. Obviously, it's a very strange adaptation of the games, but it's a pretty neat movie. I like that. The Turtles movies I did rewatch a few years ago, and yeah, the first one holds up. Like, it's a pretty cool. Like, it's a Golden Harvest. Weird, like, isn't that like a wasn't that like a collaboration between Golden Harvest and Canon, or like two of the coolest movie studios who ever put out anything? But then, of course, the second one is like a stupid cartoon for children, and the third one is even worse. Like, I could see myself preferring the second one when I was 8. But it's like... Fuck. I shouldn't say unwatchable, but it's got that, like, surface-level fan service that you're looking for as a 7-year-old, but... it's certainly not a better movie. I have the second... the second of the new TMNT movies. I haven't watched either. I've heard a lot of very mixed things. The first one just seemed very bad all around. I haven't heard any positive things about it, really. But the second one seems like a fun time, and from what I understand, like they rectified a lot of the things that, like, I don't know if rectified is the right word, but like, for fuck's sake. They just put a lot of the stuff that you would have wanted to see from the cartoons in a movie. Like, it has Krang, it has Dimension X, Bebop and Rocksteady are in it. Like, that seems the closest they've ever been to a movie, like a live-action adaptation of the 80s cartoon. So that's what prompted me to actually pick it up and potentially, in theory, I'm gonna watch it sometime. So let's try this thing. But TMNT, I mean, I loved it as a kid, but it's not something that's like really holy to me or anything. Like, I remember reading the original Mirage comics and thinking they were really cool. I watched the cartoon, I played with the toys, whatever. But there's been so many different versions that I don't find any one of them particularly more or less true or whatever. Shit, this is not going great. So like, just poses a bit there. Like, as long as that, whatever version it is like true to what that version is trying to do, and it's well done, then I'm cool with it. So I'm curious about the 07 or whatever it was movie. Like, and the same thing with the second of the latest movies. Like, hey, if it's entertaining, I'll take it. Krang is kind of freaky. I think that's when I like the TMNT the best. Like, when it gets freaky and weird. Fuck's fuck's going on here? And there was a lot of that stuff in the original Mirage comics too, with like traveling to alternate dimensions and like just real quirky sci-fi stuff. Speaking of TMNT, like I've like the only versions of the cartoons that I've really watched is the '80s one and the anime, which that one rules. Anyone who hasn't seen that should definitely check it out. The Super Turtles OVA. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but I remember really liking it. But I haven't really watched the 2003 series, and I haven't watched the CG. Oh, fuck that up. Series, but I've heard that one is like the no refills. Oh boy. I've heard a lot of very good things about that. The Nickelodeon show, the like CG show. Do I remember the original Mirage comics well? That's probably an overstatement. Bits and pieces, but I didn't really read them. Like I would have. I had when I was a kid like one or two like paperbacks. I didn't have them like collected in an organized fashion or anything. Oh shit! But I was familiar with the comic version when I saw the movie. Yeah, this game, I agree. Like the background art is very bland. I mean, the characters don't look great either. Oh fuck! I did not want to take that damage. I think I might want to restart this stage because if I get to the checkpoint with no health refills, then. Whew, okay. Whoa! And this gets difficult. Up over here. Yeah, the Platinum Turtles game was a big disappointment. Honestly, I haven't actually even finished it. I had some thoughts at some point to do like a Platinum retrospective, some sort of thing on stream at some point. At which point I would like finally finish that game. Like it's weird because it's got on one hand like the components, the makings of a good game, but at the same time it makes a lot of strange mistakes. Like it runs at a low frame rate for one. The whole 4-player thing is just it does not work well. The structure of the stages is super confusing. It's like everything about it, even the stuff that should be good isn't really good. Like you've got the basic Platinum style combat, but then you have a stamina meter essentially for dodging and parrying, which kind of goes against how those games usually work. It's a strange beast, that game. I was very disappointed with it. I'm glad to own it. I like to support Platinum, and I have, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Infinite Undiscovery, I think, is the only Platinum game that I don't own. I don't have physical copies of all of them. I don't have a physical copy of Korra, but I have it on PSN at least. And that game also not great. But that was at least a budget release. TMNT was, I think it was like 50 euros or something, so like technically not quite full price, but not, it was still twice as much as Korra. But even some of those lesser platinum games, like I thought Transformers was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that game much more than Turtles or Korra. But let's just say I'm excited for Bayonetta 3. And the return of proper platinum, hopefully. I have Star Fox Zero. I have not tried that yet. This is stupid. I shouldn't have wasted those. And I'm actually super excited for Platinum's Grand Blue Fantasy game that they're making. They've shown bits and pieces of gameplay, and it's dude. Okay, I should probably not have done a glide. I should probably just have fell down. I'm curious to see what that game is, but at least it looks cool. And of course, Grand Blue has like cool characters and nice artwork. So if that can be implemented in that game too, it might be pretty nice. Dude, I love how I fucking lose all my health immediately every time. I can't really focus. I think I need to restart. So I have the password. Yeah, I'll do this attempt, but if I die again, I will. I'll use the password so I restart the stage from the beginning so I can have a chance to make better use of my health refills. Yeah, Transformers is another one thing. Like, I had a couple of Transformer toys when I was a kid, but not many. They were really expensive. I never really watched the show either. Like, saw an episode here or there maybe. I mean, it was before my time. And I don't think it really aired on Swedish TV with any kind of regularity. But I'd like... It's kind of like G.I. Joe. I had the occasional issue of the comic, and I'd read, you know, see it here or there. But it's not something I had a... I had probably a stronger affection for G.I. Joe than I had for Transformers. But the Transformers looked cool. Okay, so password was Batarang. Let's just try. Controls are responsive. That's good. So now I should have, yeah, 3 refills. We have to redo this part, but I'm gonna try to do it without using, well, ideally any refills, but at least as few as possible. Scotty, yes, that is correct. I am born and raised in Sweden. Yeah, SDS, that's, I said that before too, like, if you know of anything to do with Batman, you could probably guess, like, every password so far. The only trick is, like, figuring out where in the game they actually lead. Dokan-kun, we don't know yet, because the advanced mode requires you have to enter a password. So presumably it's a specific password you get for beating the game or something. Of course, I could try putting any password in. Maybe you could guess it. Maybe the password is Bruce Wayne. But I figure we'll beat the game normally first. Oh yeah, I wanted one final note that I wanted to bring up on the topic of TMNT is that new show that's coming out actually looks really cool. The art is really, like, of course, as any cartoon reboot worth its... Oh, fuck, it expired. Shit, this might get tricky now. As any cartoon reboot, you know, it'll have a army of angry 40-year-old white dudes on the internet explaining why everything is totally wrong. But I actually really dig it. I saw some video on Twitter or whatever before. They showed some, like... Okay, we made it. We didn't use any Health upgrades, nice. And the style of the animation and the character designs are really cool. I forget, it's called like Rise of the TMNT or something. The name's a little stupid maybe, but yeah. But I like the visuals of it. I mean, I'm not really gonna watch it, but you'd be hard pressed to say that the 80s show looked better. I can say that much. Stand here and punch his feet. Yeah, SDS, that's kind of how I feel. Like, there's something inherently amusing about people getting extremely worked up about things that really shouldn't matter to them. But then you consider the actual degree of, like, hostility and toxicity involved. And it's just like, oh, it's not funny anymore, really. But, I mean, whenever it's not too hostile or toxic, it can be pretty funny. Ugh, messed that up. Alright, definitely time for a refill. Oh, that was extremely bad timing. I don't know why I did that. It's kind of quick too. I can just do that. Yeah, the original Mirage comics, like I said, they get pretty crazy, and they're pretty fun too. I mean, they're like schlock, and I mean, TMNT always was like it was never highbrow. Okay, that was a little careless, but fuck it. Okay. All right, so here I don't want to actually glide because it'll put me in a pretty bad position. Okay, that wasn't good either, but it's better. Should be it? Yeah, nice. Password Bruce. Who could ever have guessed? Godsman, in one episode, a character throws a boomerang which clearly slices a dude's throat open. Pick new enemy type? Oh, whatever. Oh, like everything just blends together. This is like just awful to look at. It's a sonic boomerang. Yeah, there's a lot of silly, not even edits, but like explanations like that. So I've never really watched those shows, but I have watched a good amount of Super Sentai series, which is the Japanese. Oh wow, we can hold yourself up there. The Japanese shows that Power Rangers is based on / made from. Oh, dude, I was too close to the end, so I couldn't. Oh, so you can like dodge like this, but if you're here, like if you're close to the end, it doesn't work. All stupid. And I mean, the Super Sentai shows are obviously kids shows too, but it's just like they get to, you know, be a little more violent or explicit than in America. So as a result, because the American shows is made from footage, the Japanese show's footage. Sometimes they have to get creative and voiceover to explain what's happening on screen, lest it be, I don't know, harmful to innocent child minds. Oh, I see. This just continues on. And, like, for a while, I was watching, so usually the way that the shows work, is that you have a new season every year in Japan. It's a new show with new theme, new costumes, new robots, etc. And like the following year, that show gets adapted for America, like in the Power Rangers version. Roughly. There's some exceptions, and it's not exactly every year, but basically that's how it works. So, for a time, I was watching the Japanese show, and as the American show started, I started watching it to sort of just see how it compared. And this was the Tokusou Sentai Deka Ranger, and the American version was Power Rangers SPD, just in case any of you guys are familiar. And it was like a space cop themed show. The Power Rangers are cops, and they arrest all kinds of alien criminals. And I remember in that version, there's a few of these like really weird like edits, but one like recurring thing is that the Red Ranger in that show, his weapon was a pair of pistols, and you know, comes with the territories that, you know, there's cops and robbers, there's gangsters and whatever, so there's going to be a lot of firearms, or at least some. And in the American version, whenever someone shot a gun, they would edit like laser effects. Can I just beat the stage here or something? Yep. Quinzel. So all the guns in the show were like remade as lasers, which works well enough. You just add some laser beams and you change the sounds. Until there's like the climactic episode where the 6th Ranger is introduced. And he saves the life of someone by literally, like, he's got this, he's like motorcycle themed, so he's got this, his morpher is like a bracelet with a handle that he can rev, like a motorcycle. So he would like rev it up, and when he does, he like charges himself up so he can move at like light speed or whatever. So when he's introduced, he does that, and as one of the villains is like shooting someone, he catches the bullets out of the air, and it looks super awesome, and it's like a cool highlight. Except, how do you do that with lasers? They got real creative in the Power Rangers version, because that scene plays out pretty much exactly the same ways, in the same way. He shows up, he catches the bullets. There's a close-up of his hand, like with the smoking bullets, or like smoldering bullets or whatever. So in the English version, or the dub or whatever, they're like, oh, he caught the laser pellets, whatever. So apparently lasers are pellets, so there's still projectiles being fired. And there's a few other things like that where monsters seemingly have to make it explicit that there's no actual people inside the giant buildings that they destroy. And shit like that. It gets real silly sometimes. Yeah, Val, I never watched it, but I've heard I've heard Power Rangers Turbo was divisive, let's say. It doesn't have empty warehouse district? I don't know. No, we only have a empty high-rise district. Anyway, story. I guess we're on the Joker blimp. I can't believe I had you bamboozled since the museum robbery. So this makes a lot more sense in the real game, where there's like an actual plot. Surprise! Batman thinks back to his encounter at the museum. So this, this is not really explained this clumsily in the real game. Needed to lure you to the bridge to witness my death. Yeah, there's a lot of those shows, like, they vary a lot in tone, and some of the ones, like, some shows are a lot more comedic than others. And, a lot of the time, like, they've really, like, it's changed a lot over the years, too, how they've been handled in terms of translating storylines, versus making their own, you know, completely new stories, but also in terms of tone. Like, some of the shows maintained a lot of their tone, and some of them changed a lot. I think actually SPD was probably, from what I've heard and what little I've seen, it's one of the shows that actually kind of kept the tone largely the same. They definitely stuck very close in terms of the cast and stuff like that. They didn't really add a lot of different characters the way they usually do. And they still, I mean, they redesigned Doggy Kruger, so he became a weird, scaly, plastic space dog instead of a furry, like, stuffed animal dog. But, otherwise, it stayed pretty close. Anyway, okay, so Joker's got this giant gas-filled blimp flying over Gotham. And now we have to fight. Oh, yeah, right. So this was... Okay. Alright, we got a big-ass GBA ROM. What do we do? Fill up with some voice samples. Okay. Fucking camera! I guess you literally only get to punch her once. It seemed like it. Yeah. Fuck. I feel like the camera is like the real boss here. It's gotta run away, but I gotta make sure the camera, like, she's on camera because... But she keeps going forward the same way, I guess, after getting hit, so it's not a big deal. Just the cartwheels. Also, I guess she's got one hit left. So did I, apparently. Doesn't seem like I can, like... The timing of my jump or whatever doesn't really seem to affect whether she attacks or not. I think it's probably random. Maybe I need to jump late. I think she's, like, cartwheeled into me before, too. Yeah, seems... Well... Whatever I'm doing now is working, so... Nice little animation. Jack. I don't remember if there was much dialogue during the gameplay, actually. Maybe she Maybe that's from a cutscene. I don't know, actually. Blimp's on the move, Batman. I'm guessing the Joker's on board. Batgirl, Robin, bring the Batplane. Rendezvous with the Blimp. I need your help up there. Nightwing. Left out of the party as usual. As the Joker's blimp sets off, Batman makes his way on board. This blimp's a flying bomb, set to go boom. Smack in the middle of Gotham City. You're too late, Batman. Never too late, Joker. Okay. So we got a bit of a gauntlet here, I suppose. Seems a little unclear whether they can shoot. You keep punching them or not. So I reckon this is going to be a little bit of trial and error because we're going to have to make it up there. What am I missing? Is there anything we can grab here? Oh, there's a grab. Whoops. Oh, I fucked up the controls. Okay, we didn't get a prompt for some reason. So now I wasted a healing thing and a bunch of bad ranks, but that's fine. Oh shit. Okay, so I assume we have to go back here exactly to pick up. Maybe we only get 5. If we have 4, will we still get another pickup? Or will they only spawn if I'm at 0? So we need to be at 0. Probably have crouched. Okay, that was weird. The thing is, I'm fairly certain the fight will continue to go on after that point, because, well, obviously the stage is still around.
Meow.
Whoa. Well, Sting, thank you for that host. Appreciate it. Did he take off? Oh, he took off already. So now I'm short on healing already, which isn't great. These barrels, now that I don't need them, they stopped. It's funny, like it's not like the platforming collision has been all that wonky. Like it's only really in the Harley or Poison Ivy stage where everything was like kind of messed up. Yeah, I don't have any smoke grenades. Dude, I'm not even sure how I'm supposed to deal with that guy, to be honest. I can't shoot him. Except from, like, over there. Does this open up? Ah, I see. I see. Probably, no, okay. I heard a grunt, I'm not sure. Dude, Joker fucking MVP throwing from downtown. Let's heal up. I can always use the password if we got a bad checkpoint. Oh, I'm not hitting him from here. Alright, he took off. Well, that was actually easier than the first one, I felt. Perfectly mistimed. Oh, whoops. I thought that gray thing was a ceiling. It was not. That's the blimp in the background, I guess. Holy shit, does it look bad. For some reason, I didn't notice it until now. It's like, fuck are we even looking at? Can't grab onto the ledge for some reason. I have no weapons either, so how do we do this? Okay, now it works. Do I have? I don't know. Okay. I could get lucky and actually make it here, but I might also not. Yeah, I figured we'd do it all over, but that's fine. I can, now that I know how it works, I'm probably gonna do better. Let's try that again. Let's see if I can actually glide. My thumb got kind of stuck. I didn't let go of the button like I should have. That part probably could have gone better, but... Wow. Oh my god! Could it have gone any worse is the question. Well, I might as well... Because we get refills, might as well take it safe. Dude, it looks like it's fucking done. There's some weird like stitching or something. Okay. A cross stitching. Dude, I'm trying to crouch. Well, I might as well. Just have to refill anyway. Surprisingly, his machine gun didn't do a ton of damage, though. Dude, the fucking collision. Right. So I have to take out this guy. Ah! That was close. Oh, oh. God damn it. Oh, shit, already. Huh. Let's hold on to these batarangs. Well, I mean, it's someone with white skin and a purple suit, so I think it's safe to assume it's the Joker. Warrior games. Well, let's not. I am not. not exactly holding an open vote for, hey, what am I going to do next after Batman? It's still a ways off, so we'll see. But just generally, I would love to play Warrior Land 2 and 3. I have played the first Warrior Land. I played that. I remember playing that a lot back in the day. Or I don't know about a lot, but I definitely beat it multiple times. I didn't own a Game Boy as a kid, but I remember over like a summer or something, I was able to borrow a friend's Game Boy with that game. I played the shit out of it. Fuck. But I'm also not so sure about Wario games after that point, because there's a bunch of them, and I'm not sure any of them are any good, to be honest. I have played the... I forget the English title. Was it Master of Disguise on the DS? That game was not very good. Yeah, Wario Land 4, definitely not bad. Fuck. Oh, well, if you include WarioWare, that's a whole bunch of other games. His life bar's empty. There we go. New password, Edward. Edward? The Joker is taken down. Is that the other guys arriving just now, or is that Batman? Batman leaps with the Clown Prince to the waiting Batplane. The blimp must be destroyed before it hits the ground. I want a best 2D platforms. Well, I primarily meant it's not bad in comparison to some of the later ones, which are bad. I'm not sure if I would go quite as far as to say best 2D platformers ever. It's good. I haven't played it a ton. Okay, we got a final shmup stage where we have to just destroy the blimp, I guess. Is it refilling HP? It looks like it. Oh yeah, I have the shield thing. Alright. Got him. Oh yeah, that happened. Animation. Well, gotta put something in that giant cartridge space. With Joker and Harley Quinn return to Arkham Asylum, Gotham City is safe once again. Thanks to the efforts of the Dark Knight. As night cloaks Gotham City, Batman stands high above its streets, a watchful avenger, ever on the alert for the next threat to strike. Wow, he looks weird. Well, there you have it, folks. Batman Vengeance on the GBA. I don't think I ever need to revisit this game, ever. Not to say that it's horrible, but like, just bland. Like, there's numerous games that we've been playing in this challenge that have been significantly worse than this, but still worth revisiting for one reason or another. But this, shoutouts to Amanda Butt. About the highlight of this. Yeah, I wanted to check out, I want to see what advanced mode is. Special thanks to Kawaii Carvalho. Okay. Of course, Ubisoft CEO, Yves Guillemot. As a viewer, I prefer bad games over non-memorable ones. Yeah, even playing them, I would agree. Advanced mode, Arkham. Well, let's see what advanced mode is. Come to think of it though, I guess having a password for this like post-game thing, as well as the password system in general, means that there's no like battery backup or whatever in this cartridge. I mean, not that the game needs it, But at some point you would almost expect it. Like, it seems quaint with a game that doesn't have a save feature, even for something like that. Like, even a game that is like an arcade style, you play it through in one sitting, for the like alternate mode stuff not to be an unlockable, but like locked behind a password, seems kind of old-fashioned. I like it because it's easier for me to look up a password than it is to look up a complete save file, but it's just one of those things that make it dates the game somehow. Anyway, you will have to find 3 data disks within the time limit to access the next level. Okay, so advanced mode is like obnoxious extra goals. Like, this stage particularly doesn't have a lot of like nooks and crannies. Okay, there's more enemies, because there's no way they would set up 2 enemies like that on the first stage. Like, the level layout looks the same, but the placement of enemies, I think, is a little different. Alright, there's a data disk, I guess. Does it show which one it is the question. Well, we at least don't know that we have fucked up. We don't know if we fucked up, but... Oops. I have a feeling that we probably missed one because I want to say there's not that much level left, but I also don't know where it would be hidden. Let's see if we can find out. Like, maybe here if you don't jump past everything. Yeah, not hidden exactly, but... Time is definitely a factor here too. Yeah, there we go. Well... Wait, okay, so it's a new set of passwords. Okay, well, I mean... Yeah, so this is not the first driving stage. I don't think that was the first stage either. I think that was like the second stage. So it seems like we're playing a different selection of stages. Boy, I wonder if, like, so I guess these two... I mean, here you're ultra fucked if you just miss a disc or whatever. Maybe they're in the boxes. Nope. Or they only put them in places like that where you basically can't miss it. Which I guess make these stages like hardly any different, but maybe the timer is more strict. They didn't give you much leeway to begin with, so... Whoa, that one you could have missed for sure. Dude, I hated this stage so much. Probably my least favorite stage in the entire game. Expert dodge there. Well, there's no way we're gonna make it. Got the disc, but there's like another chunk of stage left. I don't really feel like I need to play more. Well, that was Batman Vengeance on the GBA. Not a lot to it, but hey, it's an early GBA game. It's about what you would expect, I suppose. Let us close this thing down and bring up the old spreadsheet. Let's get some tunes going here. Alright, where are we? Let's bring it up. Batman Vengeance, Game Boy Advance. Do this. Well, edit it. Alright, status. It has been conquered, defeated, finished, whatever, in 2 hours, 15 minutes, 15 seconds. So that means it's no longer folded, and I dare say we can put this on green. No shenanigans involved in beating this game, pretty straightforward. And next up is the long-awaited, much dreaded, deeply feared, yet, I don't know, anticipated Batman Dark Tomorrow, claimed by at least a few people to be the pinnacle of bad Batman games. And I don't know, I think it might very well be a certain flavor of bad that we haven't really seen much. I mean, we've only just now made it to the 3D games. But we have played some real stinkers. So, we'll see. Let me update this here too. Current game. I didn't really plan on doing a super long stream. Like I said, my goal was really to finish. This song is like too intense. Let me switch it up. Oh boy. Oh, there we go. Now this is chill music here. My main goal for today was beating the GBA game. And I'm not sure if I want to be going too much longer. I definitely need to get something to eat sooner or later. However, I feel like I would be letting folks down if I just cut the stream right here. I know a lot of people have been waiting for Dark Tomorrow, so I feel like I almost owe you guys at least a quick look at it. We probably won't be getting very far, so it'll be one of those, you know, maybe we'll do a quick look and just drop it there, or maybe it turns out that we'll play it for an hour and that's going to be a significant chunk of progress, so we'll continue from there next time or something. I don't really know. But this has been Batman Vengeance. We're over and done with that, and let's close down the spreadsheet here and get ready. No, Gundam, that's never, definitely not. I was about to say that's never gonna happen. I'm sure it happens on occasion, but probably not tonight. If nothing else, I really need to stop to get some food before too long. Unless I do something real crazy and try to, well, I don't know. Fuck it. In any case, I need to take a bit of a break. I need to do a little bit of setup, but also just stretch my legs and all that good stuff. So why don't we hop on over to this scene right here and update this for our next game.